Welcome back to the Parade of Quartets, and of course, we try to keep you updated and enlightened on what's going on politically. And of course, the two of our gurus for Parade of Quartets is Representative Wayne Howard and, of course, Senator Harold Jones. How you guys doing? I guess you had a heated session, to say the least.
Absolutely, it's one of the more contentious sessions, quite frankly, because of all the different bills. So it was kind of like a difficult session, no doubt.
Dealing with that voter suppression bill, it sort of created an atmosphere that I had never seen before. So it was definitely a contentious session.
What is it? What's in those 92, 93 pages specifically that we can say is, and we see as an act to suppress voters from minorities or poor people or whatever?
Yeah, one of the big areas is what we call the drop box area. That was something that came up because of the pandemic. So you have drop boxes outside of your voting precincts or selected precincts. And so what happened was we now are going to limit those drop boxes. So let's say a county wants to have 8 or 9 drop boxes, which would be great. That establishes access for voting. What the state has done is said you can get one, everybody gets one, but from there you get the lesser of the number of advanced voting places you have or the number of 100,000 voters you have. So put it in perspective, Augusta can only have 2 drop boxes now. So even if the county commission said we would like to have 4 or 5 or 6 drop boxes, by law we can only have 2. And so that's why I would say it suppresses the vote. It cuts down on access. That's the key. It cuts down on voter access. So we could allow the counties to have as many drop boxes as they want, which could increase turnout. Instead, we say, no, we're going to limit you on the amount of drop boxes, which of course could decrease turnout.
How can we overcome that idea if we can only have, because I know Richmond County, at least we had 3 or 4, I know, for the last election.
Well, I think we got to prepare ourselves mentally and physically to know where the 1 box or 2 boxes are going to be and take advantage of that. And when you can't do it, you may have a son, a daughter, or a relative that you trust to get you a ballot to that box.
Now, is that legal according to the new bill that somebody else can drop yours? Can I go in there and drop my 4 ballots out for my family?
Persons like immediate family members can have access to it. So what you're talking about is like what we call ballot harvesting for other third parties to go grab ballots or something. But if you are an immediate family member, you can have access to be able to do that. But on the issue of drop boxes, it seems like there may be not any way getting around it. One of the interesting things is every time you think you might see a loophole, they kind of close it up. So you say you see a loophole and maybe trying to give people food or water at a precinct, they close it up. So every time you think you see something, it kind of gets closed up.
Yeah. So back to that drop box though, now who's going to know whose ballots I'm dropping in the box?
Well, that's the key. I mean, there would be no real.
Somebody's going to be there standing there watching the boxes, or no?
It does have to be under constant surveillance, but they're not going to be asking who you are.
Okay, good. All right, let's talk about this water idea. I mean, passing out water and snacks. In the last election, I know I went by Bell Terrace and the line was long, and there were some folk out there, I don't know who they were, just had snacks for people. So how does that impact?
It impacts negatively because you could have folk that's maybe have underlying health conditions like diabetes and may need a snack or water or a drink to help control or manage their diabetes while they're in line. It can be all kinds of health conditions that requires a person to keep their eating habits balanced. They'll be a lot more fearful about standing in line or being caught in a longer line.
I guess the antidote to that is what? Pack your bags.
Bring your own.
Bring your
Of course, what happens if you give it to somebody? Because it's a blanket prohibition. It's actually a blanket prohibition says you cannot do it. So it doesn't say if you're in line together. So that's another kind of question mark. It doesn't say if you're in line together, you can hand somebody something. It says you can't get food or water when there is a line. So, and that's the whole key. And that's why I call it like voter access suppression, because what it's designed to do is just kind of limit the possibilities of persons voting. So yes, hopefully there won't be a line, but if there is a line on that day and a person has those issues, they're not going to be able to wait. You know, they'll turn around, and every vote counts, and that's the key thing. How do we get somebody necessarily turn around? On that kind of situation, they would turn around, and they may not have an opportunity to come back to the polls. That might have been their day to be able to do it, and now they'll turn and leave. So with the drop boxes, you don't have ready access. Person may not get their ballot to it. You can say, well, they can do all these other things, but the question becomes, why are you limited in the ways they can do it? That becomes the question. Yes, they may have other ways, but then why are you putting artificial limits on how they do it? That's the principal question.
And let's keep this conversation going, maybe, because I really want to get back to some of the other issues that's inside that bill. So thank you for joining us. Appreciate it, and we'll talk to you the next time around.
All right, thank you.